Commander Olivia Reeves straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. Today would mark humanity's first formal diplomatic meeting with an alien species. The corridor of the space station hummed with quiet energy as she walked toward the conference room, her three-person team following closely behind. "Everyone ready?" she asked, glancing back at them. Lieutenant Mason Carter nodded sharply, his military posture perfect as always. Dr. Ellie Winters clutched her data tablet tightly, excitement visible in her eyes despite her nervousness. Noah Patel, their communications specialist, gave a thumbs up as he adjusted his translation device. "Remember, we represent all of Earth today," Olivia said. "Let's make a good impression." The space station orbiting Europa had been chosen as neutral ground for this historic meeting. Through the viewport, Olivia could see the icy moon below and Jupiter's massive form looming in the background. The station itself was a marvel of human engineering, but it paled in comparison to the sleek Azuri vessel docked at the opposite end. The door to the conference room slid open. Inside, the Azuri delegation waited. Their tall, slender forms had an almost luminescent blue-green skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Their four eyes, two large ones and two smaller ones above, studied the humans intently. "Greetings," said the lead Azuri, its mouth not moving as the words formed directly in the humans' minds. "I am Senior Emissary Zilvax. We welcome this exchange between our civilizations." Olivia stepped forward. "On behalf of the Earth Alliance, we thank you for initiating contact. I am Commander Olivia Reeves. These are my colleagues, Lieutenant Carter, Dr. Winters, and Specialist Patel." The meeting began smoothly. They exchanged information about their respective worlds, discussed potential areas of cooperation, and shared cultural insights. Dr. Winters was particularly animated when discussing Earth's biodiversity, while Noah worked diligently to ensure the translation devices captured the nuances of both languages. 3 hours into the meeting, Olivia felt a sense of accomplishment. The Azuri seemed genuinely interested in peaceful relations. Zilvax had even suggested a trade agreement that could benefit both species. "Before we conclude today's session," Zilvax said, "we have prepared a small demonstration of Azuri technology as a gesture of goodwill." The alien raised a hand, and a small spherical device floated to the center of the table. It began to glow with a soft, pulsing light. "This is a harmony sphere," explained Zilvax. "It responds to the emotional state of those around it. On our world, we use these to facilitate understanding and connection." The sphere's light changed from blue to purple, then suddenly flashed a bright, harsh red. In that same instant, Olivia felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. She reached for her sidearm, but her arms felt heavy, unresponsive. "What's happening?" she managed to say before her legs gave way beneath her. Through blurring vision, she saw Mason collapse beside her. Ellie and Noah were already on the floor. The Azuri were standing now, looking down at them impassively. "You humans are so trusting," Zilvax said, voice no longer warm. "Did you really believe we traveled all this way merely to talk?" Olivia fought to stay conscious as two more Azuri entered the room. They efficiently began binding the humans' hands with thin metallic cords. "Your species has resources we require," continued Zilvax. "This meeting was merely to assess your capabilities. You will serve a greater purpose now." "Earth won't stand for this," Olivia said through gritted teeth. "Your Earth will do exactly as we demand," replied Zilvax, taking a device from one of the other aliens. "They will watch this transmission of their captured representatives and provide what we ask, or you will not return." The device hovered in the air, its lens focused on the fallen humans. "Begin recording," ordered Zilvax. "Attention, leaders of Earth. We have taken your diplomats as our guests. Their safe return requires your cooperation. Our demands will follow." As darkness closed in around her vision, Olivia's last thought was of home and the response she hoped would come. Earth did not abandon its people. ever. Fleet Admiral Vincent Holt stared at the large screen in the Joint Space Command Center. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his knuckles turned white as he gripped the edge of the table. The transmission from the Azuri had played 3 times now. Each viewing only deepened his anger. "Play it once more," he ordered. The footage showed Commander Reeves and her team bound and unconscious. The tall blue-green alien spoke directly to the camera, its voice unnaturally smooth. "People of Earth, we have taken your representatives. For their safe return, we require 10% of your global uranium reserves, complete access to your quantum computing research, and control of 3 mining outposts on Mars. You have 48 Earth hours to comply. Any rescue attempt will result in immediate termination of the hostages." As the recording ended, the room fell silent. 12 of Earth's top military and intelligence officials sat around the table, their faces grim. "Well," Admiral Holt finally said, "options." Samantha Pierce, Director of Intelligence, stood up. Her short gray hair framed a face that rarely revealed what she was thinking. "The Azuri ship left Europa 6 hours ago. Based on their previous travel patterns, they're likely headed to their homeworld in the Ta Ceti system," she said. "They'll arrive in approximately 9 days." Commander Jack Sullivan, head of Special Operations, leaned forward. "We could have the strike force ready in 12 hours. The new Falcon ships could intercept them before they reach their territory." "And risk the lives of our people?" asked Dr. Daniel Wright, their diplomatic advisor. His soft voice carried surprising weight. "The Azuri clearly have advanced technology. A direct assault seems unwise." Admiral Holt nodded slowly. "What do we know about these aliens, Doctor?" "Really know?" Dr. Wright adjusted his glasses. "Not as much as they think we do. Their first contact was only 8 months ago. They presented themselves as peaceful explorers, interested in cultural exchange. This hostage-taking contradicts everything they've told us about their society." "They're lying," said Samantha simply, "or this faction doesn't represent their entire species." Admiral Holt stood up and walked to the viewport. Earth shone blue and beautiful below the space station. "Director Pierce, prepare a response transmission," he said without turning. "What should it say, sir?" Holt turned, his decision made. "Dear aliens, we don't negotiate ransom." The room erupted in surprised murmurs. "And then, ladies and gentlemen," Holt continued, raising his voice slightly, "we initiate Protocol Thunderbolt." The murmurs turned to shocked silence. "Sir," Commander Sullivan said carefully, "Protocol Thunderbolt has never been implemented. It's theoretical." "Not anymore," said Holt. "Get me Captain Laura Bennett. Her ship was designed for exactly this situation." As the meeting ended, the Admiral pulled Dr. Wright aside. "Daniel, I need to know if there's any chance of peaceful resolution here." The doctor hesitated. "These aren't the actions of a species interested in peace, Vincent. Something else is happening here. The demands don't make sense for a civilization as advanced as they claim to be." "My thoughts exactly," said Holt. "Find out what they really want." Meanwhile, aboard the Azuri vessel, Commander Olivia Reeves woke with a pounding headache. She was in a small cell with transparent walls. Across a narrow corridor, she could see Mason in a similar cell, still unconscious. There was no sign of Ellie or Noah. Olivia tested her restraints. The metallic cords were tight but not painful. The cell was bare except for a small platform that served as a bed. An Azuri guard noticed she was awake and approached. "Your companions are alive," it said in that same mind voice. "They will remain so if your leaders comply with our demands." "And if they don't?" Olivia asked, her voice hoarse. The Azuri tilted its head. "Your species values individual lives. They will comply." Olivia said nothing, but a small smile crossed her face. The aliens had already made their first mistake. They didn't understand humans at all. Captain Laura Bennett walked the length of the ship that would be her command for the rescue mission. The Shadow was unlike any vessel she had ever seen. Its hull was covered in a strange dark material that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. "Beautiful, isn't she?" asked Chief Engineer Greg Foster, who had been leading the tour. 3 years in secret development. She's invisible to every detection system we've tested her against. Laura ran her hand along a wall. "And the Azuri won't be able to spot her." "That's the best part," Greg said with a smile. "We reversed engineered some of their own scanning technology from data they shared during early diplomatic meetings. They literally gave us the key to becoming invisible to them." Laura nodded appreciatively. "How soon can we launch?" 12 hours. I just need to finish calibrating the stealth systems." Laura thanked him and headed to the briefing room where her newly assembled team waited. As she entered, 3 people stood at attention. "At ease," she said. "We don't have much time, so let's get to know each other quickly." The muscular man with close-cropped hair spoke first. "Sergeant Frank Martinez, demolition specialist. If it needs to go boom, I'm your guy." Next to him, a tall woman with bright eyes and a quick smile said, "Zoe Campbell. I break into computer systems for fun. The government decided to pay me for it instead of putting me in jail." The third team member, a lean man with watchful eyes, simply nodded. "Ryan Mitchell. Former Special Forces. I get in and out of places that don't want me there." "Good," Laura said. "I'm Captain Bennett. Our mission is to rescue 4 hostages from an alien species that has vastly superior technology to our own. The odds are against us, but we have 2 advantages they don't know about." She activated the display screen showing the Azuri ship. "First, this ship can approach them undetected. Second, we know something about their systems that intelligence just discovered." Laura pulled up another image showing strange, intricate patterns. "These are Azuri data structures. Director Pierce's team found that the Azuri never developed encryption as we understand it. They're partially telepathic, and their entire society is built on communal knowledge. The concept of hiding information from each other is foreign to them." Zoe leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "So their computer security is basically non-existent by our standards," Laura confirmed. "Once we're close enough, you should be able to access their systems directly." "What's the plan once we reach them?" asked Ryan. Laura touched the screen again, showing the layout of the Azuri vessel. "We'll dock here at an emergency maintenance port their scans indicated. Ryan and Frank will secure a path to the detention area. Zoe will access their systems to locate the hostages and disrupt security. I'll coordinate from the shadow and prepare for emergency extraction." "When do we leave?" Frank asked. "As soon as the ship is ready. The Azuri have a 9-day journey to their homeworld. We'll intercept them on day 6, while they're still in neutral space." Meanwhile, on the Azuri ship, Commander Reeves had managed to communicate with her team through a series of hand signals when the guards weren't watching. Ellie and Noah were being held in cells along a different corridor, but all 4 were alive and relatively unharmed. During a meal delivery, Olivia noticed that the Azuri guard's attention was focused on Mason, who had started loudly complaining about the food. While distracted, Olivia managed to slide a thin piece of metal from the tray into her sleeve. It wasn't much, but it might help with the restraints. Later, when she was alone, Olivia examined her small treasure. If she could free herself, perhaps she could free the others too. The Azuri clearly didn't expect resistance. They moved around the ship with minimal security, confident in their technological superiority. "Big mistake," Olivia whispered to herself as she began working on her restraints. Never underestimate how far humans will go to protect their own. 6 days into the journey, the Azuri ship cruised smoothly through the darkness of space. Inside the vessel, senior emissary Zilvax reviewed the messages from Earth. The humans had sent only that brief reply, "Dear aliens, we don't negotiate ransom." No further communication had followed. "They are more stubborn than expected," Zilvax said to his second-in-command. "No matter. Once we reach the homeworld, the Council will extract what we need from the prisoners directly." Unknown to the Azuri, The shadow had been following them for the past 12 hours, matching their speed perfectly. Its black hull absorbed nearby light, making it virtually invisible even to the naked eye. On the bridge of the shadow, Captain Laura Bennett watched the alien ship on their screens. "Status report," she ordered. "We're in position, Captain," said the pilot, "holding steady at 50 kilometers. Their sensors show no sign of detecting us." Laura nodded and activated her comm. "Team, prepare for boarding. We move in 30 minutes. In the equipment room, Frank checked his gear one last time. He carried no explosive materials. The risk was too high on a spaceship, but he had tools to cut through doors and barriers. Ryan strapped on a lightweight armor vest and tested his stun weapon. The goal was to complete the mission without casualties if possible. Zoe sat cross-legged on the floor, her portable computer in her lap. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen. "I'm already in their system," she announced through the comm. "Their security is, well, there basically isn't any. I've located the detention area. 4 human life signs detected." "All alive?" Laura asked. "Yes, but readings suggest they're keeping Dr. Winters sedated. The others appear to be conscious." "Good work," Laura replied. "Get me a route with minimal Azuri presence." A shadow silently approached the larger vessel, positioning itself near an emergency maintenance hatch. With expert precision, Ryan attached a docking tube between the ships. The seal formed with barely a sound. "Breached successful," he reported. "No alarms triggered." Laura's voice came through their earpieces. "Remember, stealth is critical. We don't have the numbers for a direct confrontation. Get our people and get out." Ryan went first, moving through the docking tube with practiced ease. Frank followed, with Zoe close behind. They entered a dimly lit corridor in what appeared to be a rarely used section of the ship. Zoe consulted her device. "Detention area is 2 levels down. I've mapped a route that avoids the main corridors." Meanwhile, Commander Olivia Reeves had managed to free herself from her restraints, using the metal piece she had taken. Through careful observation, she had learned the guards' rotation pattern. They checked the cells only once every 3 hours. Olivia waited until the guard passed, then used the thin metal to trigger the emergency release on her cell door. The mechanism was designed for Azuri crew to escape in case of power failure, but it worked just as well for her. Once free, she moved quickly to Mason's cell. "Lieutenant," she whispered, "time to move." Mason's eyes widened in surprise, then he grinned. "About time, Commander." After freeing Mason, they made their way cautiously through the detention area. They found Noah in a cell around the corner. He was pale but otherwise unharmed. They'd been asking questions about Earth's defenses, Noah whispered as Olivia worked on his door. "I've been feeding them nonsense." "Good man," she replied. "Any idea where they're keeping Dr. Winters?" Noah pointed down the corridor. "I heard them mention a research lab. I think they're interested in her biological knowledge." The 3 moved carefully through the ship. Each of them had picked up items that could serve as makeshift weapons: a metal tray, a broken piece of equipment, a length of pipe found in a maintenance alcove. "Commander," Mason whispered suddenly, "I hear something." They froze, listening to the soft footsteps approaching from an intersecting corridor. Olivia signaled her team to hide. As the footsteps drew closer, she gripped her makeshift weapon, ready to strike. Around the corner came 3 figures in dark clothing, human figures. "Captain Bennett," Olivia whispered in disbelief. The lead figure stopped, equally surprised. "Commander Reeves." "Well, this just got interesting." Ryan lowered his weapon and smiled. "Well, this saves us some time. Good to see you alive, Commander." "We still need to find Ellie," Olivia said, quickly explaining about the missing scientist. Zoe consulted her device. "I'm detecting a human life sign in the research lab 1 deck above us. Must be Dr. Winters." 2 teams, Laura decided quickly. "Commander Reeves, take your people with Frank and head for the shadow. Ryan, Zoe and I will get Dr. Winters." Olivia shook her head. With all due respect, Captain, my team member, my responsibility. I'm coming with you. Before Laura could argue, an alarm blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridor. They've discovered the empty cells, Mason said. Zoe's fingers flew across her device. I can't shut down the alarm system. It's on a separate network. But I can. She paused, concentrating. Got it. I've accessed their internal communication system. Can you create a diversion? Ryan asked. Zoe nodded. Better than that. I can broadcast their own communications ship-wide. Every internal message will be heard by everyone. Her eyes widened as she looked at her screen. And right now, they're saying some very interesting things. She tapped a few more commands. Suddenly, the Ajuri language echoed through the ship's speakers, translated automatically by Zoe's device. The humans have escaped. The Council will hold us responsible if we lose them. The Domination Project cannot proceed without their biological data. More voices joined in, sounding increasingly panicked. Zoe explained as the translations came through. The higher castes are ordering the lower castes to recapture the humans at any cost, but they're letting slip details about something called the Domination Project. The lower castes seem confused by this. Laura made a quick decision. Let's use this confusion. Zoe, keep broadcasting. Everyone else, we're getting Dr. Winters now. They moved swiftly through the corridors. Most of the Ajuri they encountered seemed distracted, some arguing among themselves. The group reached the research deck with minimal resistance. The lab door was sealed, but Frank made quick work of it with his tools. Inside, they found Ellie unconscious on an examination table. Various Ajuri devices surrounded her, collecting data. Two Ajuri researchers looked up in surprise as the humans burst in. Ryan moved first, using his stun weapon on both aliens before they could react. They collapsed to the floor, temporarily paralyzed. Is she okay? Olivia asked as Noah checked Ellie's vital signs. Sedated but stable, he confirmed. They've been taking tissue samples. Laura looked at the Ajuri equipment. What were they doing to her? Nothing good, Noah said grimly. Based on these readings, they were analyzing her cellular structure in extreme detail. As they prepared to move Ellie, one of the stunned Ajuri began to stir. Ryan kept his weapon trained on the alien while Zoe examined the research data. You don't understand, the Ajuri said weakly. We need this information. Why? Olivia demanded. What is the Domination Project? The Ajuri's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. How do you know about that? It's classified even among our people. Outside in the corridor, they could hear the sounds of chaos. Running footsteps, raised voices, occasional crashes. Zoe's broadcast was having a significant effect. The lower castes are revolting, the Ajuri said, sounding shocked. This has never happened before. Laura checked the corridor. Whatever's happening, it's working in our favor. We need to move now. As they carried Ellie from the lab, they encountered an Ajuri who looked different from the others, smaller with paler skin. It raised its hands in a gesture of peace. You are the humans, it asked. We wish to help you. Many of us disagree with what our leaders have done. Laura kept her weapon ready. Why should we trust you? Because, the Ajuri said, we have just learned that our leaders lied to us about your species. They told us you were aggressive conquerors who would destroy us if we did not strike first. Now we hear their true plans, to use your genetic material to enhance our telepathic abilities and control our own people more completely. The Ajuri looked at each of the humans in turn. We want freedom too. Laura exchanged glances with Olivia. They had only seconds to decide. Can you get us to our ship without being detected? Laura asked the Ajuri rebel. Yes, I am Trell, maintenance worker. I know the less used pathways. The small alien gestured for them to follow. It could be a trap, Ryan whispered. It could also be our best chance, Laura replied. Stay alert. They followed Trell through narrow maintenance corridors. Frank carried the still unconscious Ellie over his shoulder. The sounds of conflict echoed throughout the ship, growing louder. "What exactly is happening out there?" Mason asked Trell. "Revolution," Trell said simply. "For generations, the high castes have ruled us through their superior telepathic abilities. They told us it was natural order. Now we learn they seek to make their powers even stronger using your human genetic material." Noah looked troubled. "So that's why they wanted Ellie. Her work in xenobiology makes her valuable for understanding cross-species genetics," Olivia finished. As they moved deeper into the ship, Zoe continued monitoring the Azuri communications. "The conflict is spreading," she reported. "It's not just this ship anymore. The broadcasts are reaching other Azuri vessels. The word is spreading about the Domination Project." Suddenly, a group of 4 armed Azuri guards appeared at an intersection ahead. Before the humans could react, Trell stepped forward and spoke rapidly in the Azuri language. The guards seemed uncertain, then lowered their weapons. "They are with me now," Trell explained as they passed. "Many of the security forces are joining our side. The high castes are losing control." Laura kept a careful eye on their unexpected ally. "How much farther to the docking area?" "2 more sections," Trell replied. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with senior emissary Zilvax and 2 elite guards. Unlike the other Azuri they had encountered, these wore ornate armor and carried advanced weapons. "Traitor," Zilvax hissed at Trell. "And you humans, did you really think you could escape?" "We already have," Olivia said confidently. "Your people know the truth now." Zilvax's expression darkened. "A minor inconvenience. Once we reach the homeworld, the Council will restore order. And you," he raised his weapon, "you will not leave this ship alive." What happened next surprised everyone. Trell leaped forward with unexpected speed, knocking Zilvax's arm upward. The weapon discharged, hitting the ceiling. Ryan and Mason moved instantly, engaging the 2 guards. Laura pulled Zoe back, protecting her and the vital intel she carried. Frank set Ellie down gently and joined the fight. Despite their makeshift weapons, the humans held their own against the larger aliens. Olivia faced Zilvax directly. The Azuri was physically stronger, but Olivia was quicker. She dodged his attacks and landed precise strikes, where Dr. Winters had identified Azuri weak points. "You don't understand what you're interfering with," Zilvax gasped as he stumbled back. "The Domination Project is necessary. Our society requires hierarchy to function. Your society," Trell said, stepping forward, "requires freedom." More rebel Azuri arrived, surrounding Zilvax and his guards. The fighting stopped as the elite Azuri found themselves outnumbered. "Take them to the holding cells," Trell ordered. "They will answer to all Azuri for their crimes." As the former leaders were led away, Laura turned to Trell. "Thank you, but we still need to get to our ship." "I will take you there now," Trell said. "But first, we must discuss what happens after you leave." "What do you mean?" Olivia asked. "Our society is in chaos. The truth about the high caste's plans has shattered our beliefs. We need allies as we rebuild." Trell looked at each of the humans. "Would your people consider real diplomatic relations with the new Azuri government? One based on equality?" Before Laura could respond, Ellie stirred. She had awakened during the commotion and was listening intently. "The research they were conducting," she said weakly. "I was conscious for parts of it. They discovered something they didn't expect. Our genetics actually resist the type of manipulation they were attempting. That's why they needed me. To solve the puzzle." "What are you saying?" Noah asked. Ellie smiled faintly. "I'm saying humans are naturally resistant to telepathic domination. We evolved differently. And I think," she looked at Trell, "I think we might be able to help the lower castes develop that same resistance." Back on Earth, Admiral Holt stared at the unexpected transmission coming through on the main screen. Instead of the Azuri leader, the message showed Commander Reeves standing beside an unfamiliar alien. Admiral, Olivia said, her voice clear despite the vast distance. The situation has changed significantly. I'm pleased to report that all hostages are safe and we've made new allies. She explained briefly about the revolution aboard the Azuri ship, the truth about the domination project, and Trell's offer of alliance. Holt listened without interruption, his expression thoughtful. "And you believe this? Trell is sincere?" he asked finally. "I do, sir," Olivia replied. "Captain Bennett's team has verified their claims through the ship's data systems. The high caste Azuri were planning to use human genetics to strengthen their control over their own people. The lower castes had no idea until Zoe broadcast their private communications." Trell stepped forward. "Admiral, I speak for many of my people when I say we wish peace with humans. We were told lies about your kind. Now we see the truth." Holt nodded slowly. "I'll need to consult with Earth's leadership, but speaking personally, I believe we can work together." He smiled slightly. "After all, any species that values freedom is one we can understand." After ending the transmission, Laura's team prepared the Shadow for departure. Many of the rebel Azuri had gathered to see them off. Ellie, now fully recovered, was deep in conversation with several Azuri scientists, explaining her theories about genetic resistance to telepathic control. "Will it work?" Noah asked her quietly. "The science is sound," Ellie replied. "With time and cooperation, we can help them develop greater resistance to high caste control. Not immunity, but enough to create a more balanced society." Nearby, Olivia and Laura were speaking with Trell. "A delegation from Earth will meet your representatives at the Europa station in 2 weeks," Olivia said. "Real diplomacy this time. No tricks." Trell made a gesture that seemed to be the Azuri equivalent of a bow. "We have much to learn from humans. Your response to our aggression was unexpected." "How so?" Laura asked. "When we took your people, we expected either immediate military action or complete surrender to our demands. Instead, you refused to negotiate, then sent a small team with superior strategy rather than superior firepower." Trell's 4 eyes blinked in what they had come to recognize as admiration. It shows a level of thought beyond what our leaders believed possible. As they prepared to board the Shadow, Zilvax was brought forward under guard. The former leader looked diminished without his ornate robes. "You think you've won," he said bitterly, "but you don't understand our society. The high castes have ruled for thousands of years. This rebellion will falter without strong leadership." Frank crossed his arms. "Seems to me they're doing just fine figuring things out for themselves. And they'll have help," Olivia added. "That's something your kind never understood about humans. We value cooperation over domination." Once aboard the Shadow, Laura took her place on the bridge. "Set course for Earth. Time to go home." As the stealth ship pulled away, Olivia stood at the viewport watching the Azuri vessel grow smaller. Mason joined her. "Quite an adventure, Commander," he said. "Not exactly the first contact we expected." Olivia smiled. "Maybe it was the first contact we needed. Earth could use more allies out here." 3 weeks later, the formal alliance between Earth and the new Azuri government was signed at the Europa station. Admiral Holt represented Earth, while Trell led the Azuri delegation. The document included trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and mutual defense protocols. After the ceremony, Holt approached Dr. Wright. "You were right about finding out what they really wanted." Dr. Wright nodded. "Most conflicts arise from misunderstanding, or in this case, from only understanding one faction of a complex society." "There's a lesson in that," Holt mused. On the observation deck, Olivia stood with her team, watching Earth shine blue and beautiful in the distance. "What happens now?" Noah asked. "Now," Olivia replied, "we explore the stars together, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals." She smiled at her team. "And we remember to always stand firm against those who would threaten us or others." "Dear aliens," Mason said with a grin, "we don't negotiate ransom. But we do negotiate peace, Ellie added as they turned toward home.